Stag hunting is enjoyed by hundreds of people here in the southwest. Supporters say it's the best way to keep deer herds down to healthy numbers. But as Ben Malvern reports, opponents are now stepping up their efforts to put an end to the thrill of the chase.
Late October on Exmoor. It's the final stag hunt of the season.
Hello, Mike.
Hello, mate. Stag is heading towards a village called Hawkstridge.
We've just turned at a junction, Dulverton, 7 miles, so we're heading towards. In fact, I can see the convoy in the distance.
The Devon and Somerset staghounds meet 3 times a week, with the support today of more than 100 followers.
They're all here with the forlorn hope that they're going to somehow see a pursuit at some point.
I'm with Martin Sims, Director of Investigations at the League Against Cruel Sports. He's a former police officer and used to be head of the National Wildlife Crime Unit.
Why do you do this?
Having been a police officer for 31 years, I don't like people that break the law, and I don't want to see animal cruelty, so if I get a chance to deal with both issues at the same time, I'll do.
Alpha Kilo, Mike Sierra.
Mike Sierra to Alpha Kilo, receiving over.
You've got hunt support vehicles and riders up on the Lanarker Road, tracking left towards Withypool.
Andy Kendall is another former detective with 30 years' experience of policing urban areas.
There has to be some sort of deer control. I think everybody will agree with that. I just find it, in this day and age, very barbaric how they do it. If this had happened within the inner city, when you had a group of lads with dogs chasing other animals, people would be up in arms about it. But because it's in the countryside, not many people see it, and they say it's tradition.
Most hunting with dogs was banned 13 years ago. But today, the staghounds are relying on one of several exemptions, which allow the activity to continue legally.
You can see what a big turnout of horses today. Thank you.
The followers in cars are paying to watch. They're even given windscreen stickers to show they've paid. They're available to anyone, and Martin Sims is getting one in the hope he'll get a closer view.
Hello, madam. Sorry we're late. Yes. Bless your heart, madam. Sorry about that.
The former officers track the staghounds across an estimated 8 miles. And then, nearly 3 hours after the start of the hunt, they hear this. The second of 2 shots. Some viewers may find what happens next upsetting. One hunt supporter tells us this deer was selected for the kill because it was no longer in its prime. The League's investigators disagree.
Graham, who's our deer expert, saw it being dragged out the river, healthy deer, no reason for it, none whatsoever.
Why do you think they do it?
Pure sport and pleasure.
Good one to take out.
Most of the followers are still at least half a mile away, but they're about to get a closer view of the kill.
Oh, everyone's converging.
The stag is taken to a nearby field and carved up in front of the crowd.
So there's the carcass of the deer is down on the floor. So evidently it's a ritual of carving up.
What do you make of all of this?
It was an hour ago. It was a beautiful animal going around the countryside. And there it is on the floor, dead.
The Devon and Somersets say their hunt today and every other in the past is legal, and that they help keep Exmoor's red deer herd to a healthy size.
People have just said, well, we don't like toffs on horseback, and they see it as killing for fun. It's not. It's actually a very natural process. It's testing through the chase. They're scenting animals, so they actually can pick out the right animal to be taken out. And importantly, it's non-wounding. It is the most natural and humane way of controlling and managing wildlife.
In the 13 years since the hunting ban, much public money has been spent investigating cases which have sometimes been dropped because of exemptions.
I think it's, how can we put it, like a game of chess where one moves to try and outsmart the other.
These pictures, recorded by the League back in 2013, led to 3 members of the Devon and Somerset staghounds being charged with illegally hunting stags. But the case was dropped because the huntsmen said their activities were linked to research. That's one of the exemptions. Prosecutors said even though there was evidence the primary purpose of the hunt was sport, its activities only had to be in connection with the study of the deer in order to be covered by the research exemption.
In terms of that observation and study, why does it take several miles to chase a deer to do that? What's the end product of that then goes into some scientific research? Please tell me. I'd be interested to know, because I can't see it.
The British Deer Society, which funds studies of deer, told us it was not aware of any academic research currently being carried out. But the Devon and Somerset say they've been involved in a number of research projects that have led to published papers. And we do know that members of the hunt contribute to an annual survey of the health of the Exmoor herd. Hugh Thomas is the man who coordinates that study.
About 230, 240 people go out and they count, visually they count, the deer that they see. They do other bits of research as well, but this is just one example of research. Things like picking up ears, which can be used for finding out DNA and stuff like that. So we can actually have an idea as to how old the herd of deer is on Exmoor.
Did the deer need to be chased across miles of Exmoor in order to find that information?
I wouldn't know about the answer to that, but if you're going to get the ears, you have to kill some, so whether they're shot or they're chased. But the point, I think, is that the community who is able to get this stuff together has to be a community which is together in itself. And the hunting community is a community, and they have this incredible love for the deer.
The introduction of the ban was met with a great deal of controversy. The former minister who oversaw it believes the research exemption is being misused.
Well, the simple intention was that the ban on hunting shouldn't result with an unintended consequence of preventing genuine research being undertaken that indeed would be in the interests of wildlife. It was as simple as that. It wasn't intended to open a Pandora's box of excuses which would allow people to pretend to be undertaking research while continuing to hunt wild animals.
When we asked the Devon and Somerset staghounds for more information about their research, a spokesperson said they weren't using that exemption on the day we followed them. The hunt hasn't said which exemption they were using. Martin Sims hopes the pictures his team has gathered will convince the government to close what he says are loopholes in the current law.
The law needs strengthening because clearly if these loopholes are allowed to continue, then clearly more and more of these deer will die.
But the government has told us it has no plans to amend the Hunting Act and says exemptions to the ban are subject to very strict conditions, and those found guilty of breaching them risk unlimited fines.